Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all right? It's time for Sports Unplugged. I'm your host, the Dynasty legend, Leon Rogers, and right in front of me, just two men in the boat today. Big Man, what's happening?
What up, dude?
He pushes all the buttons, make everything happen. Hey, we're going to get it cracking today, right out the gate.
Let's go ahead and get into this, man.
I told y'all. What did I say? Right here, I don't like to pat myself on the back, but I'm going to break my elbow doing it today because I told you all I did not believe Notre Dame's record. Their record was not a symbol of how good they were as a team. To me, I just felt like they had never faced the combination of speed and power. It was either one or the other.
Right.
When they play USC, speed team, maybe not as powerful as Stanford speed team, but they were missing their starting quarterback.
Yeah.
They should have lost to Pitt. They survived that one.
Yeah.
And I still feel to this day the guy wasn't down in Stanford, but that's a whole nother thing. I'm just sorry. I thought they were a good team, but I did not think that if you put them on the field with a Oregon, with a Bama, that they were going to beat them. Kansas State, yeah, they beat Kansas State. Or Florida, or Georgia. They wouldn't have beat any one of those teams.
They wouldn't have?
No. Florida, they wouldn't have beat Florida.
I could have seen, no, the reason why I thought they could have beat Florida, because Florida, they play the same kind of game.
Florida's defense is just as good as Bama's. It may be even better. Georgia, too much speed on the outside. Decent defense.
Here's my thing with the whole see, I felt that Alabama was going to win the game. I was just hoping. No. I felt like Alabama was going to win the game. I was just hoping that it'd be a closer game. I didn't know they were going to roll tide them up. You know what I'm saying? It was so bad, man. It was like, when I saw that first drive, I was like, damn. That quick?
I know everybody on Notre Dame side got happy when they on the Alabama's first offensive play. They got the tackle for the loss. Notre Dame, and I was like, oh.
They did?
You know, they had a tackle for a loss. They had a tackle for a loss, and then he came back and threw the deep pass on. I think it was like a second and whatever. He threw the deep pass, and from then on, there's a steady diet of Lacey.
Yeah, and then play action wide open. It was a clinic.
But the defense looked. They just looked slow. Like, even they looked slow.
It wasn't even slow, man. They missed a lot of tackles in that game.
Power, size. It wasn't like they wasn't trying.
I understand. I mean, I haven't seen Matt Teo miss that many tackles.
He didn't even show up till second half.
Man, it was terrible. I mean, matter of fact, I think Teo might drop a little bit.
Oh, he's going to drop severely. I was good. I put on one of my tweets, paging Manti Teo. We need you right now. Mm-hmm. We need you right now.
Yep.
I just always thought, and like I didn't even think this came down to the whole coaching thing. I think this was the game plan they were going to use. They just bullied Notre Dame.
And here's my thing: Brian Kelly knew that this was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, what got you here? I thought it was kind of sad. Brian Kelly basically said, "What got us to this point ain't going to work against this team. We're going to try something totally different."
Yeah.
Because Notre Dame is pound it out, run the ball, throw the ball every once in a while, use Golston. And he knew that. So what do? They come out of the gate, 3 straight passes. I'm like, Golston's not that kind of a player.
Not at all.
You got to wait until that boy Gunnar Keel come up here and start flinging it around.
Right.
Because this is not Brian Kelly's offense.
Because you got a weapon on Notre Dame. You got a weapon on the outside that you can use. He's nice.
Young, yeah.
He's nice.
The thing about it is Brian Kelly's offense has yet to be seen here. Because think about the Cincinnati offense. He was all about passing the ball. He don't got a quarterback that can do that as well.
How did you feel about them constantly trying the All-American defensive back? Oh, Alabama. They threw at him like the first 4 or 5 times in the game, and I'm like, are they trying to prove something? I'm like,
well,
dude,
like Kirk Herbstreit said about 10 times, Brian Kelly said the team that makes the most mistakes might win this game, and he tried to make as many mistakes as he possibly could throughout that game. It just backfired on him, where you get 42 points against you.
They got their ass kicked.
That thing it wasn't even close, bro. It wasn't. there was no point during that game where you're like, all right, turn it around. Because when we'll talk about the Redskins later, but you know how the Redskins went up 14,
right,
and you kind of Seattle still had the chance to get back in this game, and they did. I was like, all right, they're up 14. Let's just see what happens on this drive. 3-9. I'm like,
You know who Notre Dame was for me this year? They were the Chicago Bears. Zach replica. Let me tell you why. Even though they went unbeaten, but Bears first half of the season 7-1. Defense making plays. They're getting the turnovers, whatever. They ran up against a monster and got hit in the mouth and could do nothing. The offense wasn't up, and the defense just looked terrible. Like the Bears down the stretch. The offense was inconsistent, and the defense looked terrible their last couple of games, and they're sitting at home. And I was just sitting up here the whole time watching. I was talking with Teray Gordon. Shout out to Teray Gordon from Philly, comic, and we were talking about the game, and I go, dude, I never believed that Notre Dame was a team to be playing for the BCS. Their schedule was nice enough where they got through. They beat the teams they needed to beat, even Oklahoma. I guarantee you if Notre Dame were to play Oklahoma now, they'd lose. They caught everybody at the right time. I don't think Notre Dame was.
So you're basically just
good.
saying that, I mean, I can understand that.
Their 12-0 record is not a symbol of them as a unit.
Well, the thing is, their 12-0 record. What happened was when you looked at their schedule before the season started, you were like, before the season started, you were like, man, they have a rough sled
but
go.
me and you both hate preseason rankings.
No. I'm not. They weren't ranked. They weren't ranked in the preseason.
But I'm talking about you looking at all the teams that are on there. That means nothing.
I know it means nothing. And you realize that when they got to those games,
exactly.
When you saw USC, because USC was the number 1 team in the preseason.
They were in turmoil,
and they were done. Oklahoma was like the number 5 team. So they were like, if everything plays out, and if Notre Dame goes undefeated, of course they'll be in the championship game because
State.
Michigan.
All up. They got their ass handed to them right out the gate by who?
Alabama. Yeah.
And my thing is this: if those teams that they played had those rankings like for the majority of the year, I'd be like, okay. Notre Dame might be for real.
And that's what everybody's saying. Like if they had gone through that schedule the way it was, and they'd been around, and they played USC in the top 5 or Oklahoma in the top 10,
like, okay.
you'd be like, all right, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, when they got to these teams, they were kind of struggling at the time.
They were
outside of maybe Oklahoma, because Oklahoma had like 5-game winning streak. They were in the top 10 at the time,
right.
So that was almost like a legit win for them because people thought they were going to lose that game, and they actually thought they were going to lose.
Especially going to
USC.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll give them that. But the thing is, going up against Alabama, the reason why I wanted to see them against Alabama over Georgia, because I thought, like you said, Georgia has too much speed. Throw that rock around, they'll be in trouble. The thing about about Alabama, I was like,
they played the same way.
They play the same way. They run the ball. You know what I'm saying? And if you guys are one of the top run defenses, the thing about it is, man, that Alabama offensive line is nuts.
They're monsters.
It is nuts. And you would think that them going against like Big Ten teams with big lines that would help. These guys are something else.
And they're backs.
Nobody was getting touched until the second level, man.
And Notre Dame hadn't seen backs like that.
Nope.
Big 230-pound guy. Did you see the spin move, the double B move that Lacey put on?
Yeah.
Like, nobody in the Big Ten runs like
Alabama
that.
Get running backs like that all the time. They are 2 or 3 deep every year. And the thing is that offensive line of Alabama's, and I want to go here next.
They're losing, 2 guys?
They're losing 2 guys. Well, 3 of their guys are like sophomores. What the hell is that?
You got the freshman wide receiver. You got Yeldon waiting to take
over when Lacey was gone. They got Yeldon. They say Yeldon's going to be the guy that breaks all the rushing records.
And they have the 3rd best recruiting class
coming in
so far. Coming in.
And is McCarron? Is he done? Or is he?
No, junior.
He's a junior.
He'll be back.
And he'll be back.
And he's not ready to go to the league, so he'll be back.
And the thing is, here's my thing. I always say, if you get an SEC team with a good quarterback, you're in trouble. Yeah. McCarron is a good quarterback.
Takes care of the ball, doesn't make mistakes.
And he makes good throws. I'm looking at him like, man, these guys are wide open. He's making the right throws. This offensive line, he's not getting touched. This is bad for the SEC because guess what? Right now, I don't see maybe Texas A&M. Maybe Texas A&M, depending on how
Johnny.
Because that offense is amazing to me. Because Johnny
makes it work.
Johnny Heisman, he does. Johnny Heisman makes that whole thing run. But the thing is, if Johnny Heisman stays healthy all year next year, they might give him a shot. But I have a feeling that Alabama will be ready for them next year, and Alabama wanted to have a little revenge against them next year. Alabama's going to win another championship next year.
And it's going to take Auburn a while to get back.
Auburn ain't coming back. Georgia might be able to play with them. You know what I'm saying? But they're
Murray's
losing.
Gone though, right?
Yeah, I'm about to say Murray's gone. Okay. So I'm just like maybe Texas A&M, but you got Louisville, but I don't think Louisville will be ready for those guys yet. I'm sorry, Ohio State.
I stand corrected.
I might give Urban Meyer a shot.
That's another team that I feel their record doesn't really symbolize how good they are. You did this in the Big Ten.
I understand.
I'm not impressed.
No, I understand that.
The Big Ten is terrible.
Look,
if Ohio State could have played in the national championship game, them and Notre Dame, I thought would have been two teams that would have been evenly matched because I don't think they were as good as they were. But if it was a 4-round playoff and each one of those had a game in the first round against a Georgia or Alabama,
right,
you'd have an SEC final.
I thought that I'm now looking at how this all played out. I'm looking forward to that 14 playoff.
Oh, it's going to be
because beautiful. the thing is you can't hide in that.
Nope.
You're going against one of the best, and whoever wins those games will get the best of the best. You can't. You have to get to the championship game. You have to play one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the country,
and it leaves no room for crying.
Nope.
If you're a 1-loss team or a 2-loss team, because you still got a shot to get in that top 4.
Yep.
If you can't crack the top 4, shame on you. We don't have to give you that many chances. And they might increase it to 6 one day. Who knows?
Right.
But for right now, if you can't crack the top 4,
right,
then shut up.
So my question to you is, for Nick Saban,
they never leave Alabama. They're going to carve a statue into the side of the school with his face. He wins another championship, he can run for governor.
My thing is, I don't see them losing next year. I said, Texas A&M is the only team that I can see right now might be messing with them because Texas A&M is bringing a lot of their guys back.
And I'm sorry, they're the number 2 recruiting class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all Saban does is go in and go ahead and get athletes.
I mean, he's to the point now where he can just walk in and say, "I want you."
Well, I'm sorry. I'm disrespecting Les Miles down there. LSU usually has a top 5 team. Like the offense is never that great. It's usually predominantly defense is crazy. But LSU, whenever they play Alabama, it's always a tight game. It can go either way. Alabama had to do a last-second 24-yard touchdown run to win that game. So Alabama's going to be here for a while. Notre Dame, look, I think Brian Kelly will be all right. I think Notre Dame's going to be all right. I think their defense is going to be even better next year with some of the guys they got coming in next year. I think Golston, look, he's all right.
He's going to be a receiver next year.
Because I think Gunnar Keel is going to come in there and take over, because that is what Brian Kelly wants to do.
He wants to air it out.
He wants that lockdown defense, and he wants to air it out. So that is what you need to look forward to coming up.
Notre Dame can also look forward to Max Redfield. He's the nation's number 4 athlete out of Cali. He committed to Notre Dame, so they're gonna get some speed. He's going to get some speed on defense. He's a linebacker.
I'm gonna be honest. Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's back. Notre Dame's back, as in I think they'll be every year type top 25, maybe top 10.
And this guy's a 4-star athlete, so they can put him anywhere. Receiver,
and they'll be playing in the Big East. Yeah. So they get to beat up on some sorry ass teams. I'm sorry. Are they going to the ACC or the Big East?
Who?
Notre Dame. They're playing like the ACC, like a lot of ACC.
They're playing a lot of ACC.
Yeah, so they should be able to beat up on those guys too, like Wake Forest and things like that.
All right, when we come back, we're gonna get into some NBA action and how NBA guys are thugs now, or so perceived. It's all coming up on Sports Unplugged. Keep it